Hey, you Treasure History. Today's essential question is, what was the Protestant Reformation? Yesterday we talked about Johannes Gutenberg's invention of the printing press. Which of the following was an effect of his invention in Europe? And do you remember the first book that Gutenberg printed? Yeah, as you can see, religion was still very important to Europeans. But now that they could read the Bible for themselves, things started to get a little tricky for the Catholic Church. Let's see why today. Make sure you annotate and remember that it's a quarter of your practice grade today. Here we go. The Reformation occurred during Renaissance times. It was a split in the Catholic Church where a new type of Christianity called Protestantism was born. Remember this chart. We'll see it again at the end of this video and we'll be able to tell exactly what it means. More people reading the Bible. During the Middle Ages, few people other than monks and priests knew how to read and write. However, with the Renaissance, more and more people became educated and learned how to read. At the same time, the printing press was invented, allowing for new ideas as well as scriptures of the Bible to be easily printed and distributed. People were able to read the Bible for themselves for the first time in history. Martin Luther. A monk named Martin Luther began to question the practices of the Catholic Church as he studied the Bible. He found many areas where he felt the Bible and the Catholic Church disagreed. On October 31st, 1517, Luther took a list of 95 points where he thought the Church had gone wrong, and he nailed it to a door of a Catholic church. His 95 points are known as the 95 Theses. Less money for the church. One of the practices that Luther disagreed with was the paying of indulgences. This practice allowed people to be forgiven of their sins when they paid the church money. As you can imagine, this was making the church very rich. After Luther nailed his list to the church, the Catholics began to make less money. That made them really mad. They kicked him out of the church or excommunicated him, and they called him a heretic. That may not sound bad today, but in those times, heretics were often put to death. Luckily for Luther, he wasn't killed, but he was labeled a heretic for the rest of his life by the Catholic Church. Reform spreads through North Europe. Many people agreed with Martin Luther that the Catholic Church had become corrupt. Much of Northern Europe began to separate from the Catholic Church. Several new churches were formed, such as the Lutheran Church and the Reformed Church. Also, new Reform leaders such as John Calvin in Switzerland spoke out against the Catholic Church. The Church of England. In a separate split from the Catholic Church, the Church of England split from the Roman Catholic Church. This was over a different issue. King Henry VIII of England wanted to divorce his wife because she did not produce a male heir for him, meaning she couldn't have a son. But the Catholic Church wouldn't let him divorce her. He decided to split from the Catholic Church and create his own church called the Church of England, which he would allow himself to get a divorce. So, as a result, King Henry got to marry the woman that he wanted to marry. And in the process, he created his own all-new church called the Church of England. Results. The Christians who broke apart from the Catholic Church were called Protestants. Both Lutherans who followed Martin Luther and Anglicans who followed King Henry are considered Protestants. Today, we have many types of Protestant Christians, including Baptists, Methodists, Presbyterians, Amish, and more. So here's this chart again from the beginning of the video. As you can see, all of these religions are types of Christianity. The Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox are the ones that had been around since the time of the Roman Empire. But now, during the Renaissance, these were the new branches that were created by Martin Luther and by King Henry. Now go back to your playlist to watch Martin Luther rap about his 95 problems.